In today's episode, I'm standing on the bank of the pond. I'm seeing my helpless dog in the water with two American alligators swimming towards him to take him under, death roll him, pin him to a log, and then eat him. What would you do in that situation? I also break down a very personal story of being in debt, credit card debt. I had a tax lien filed against my house. My home was going to be sold at tax auction. When your back is up against the wall, what do? Listen to this episode. I know you're gonna love it. And hey, it's just a great story. My dog had been hit and killed by a car. We waited a couple of months, but we got a new puppy. Brittany Spaniel, his name was Blaze. And Blaze was about 6 months old when I started building a custom home for a client out in Moncks Corner, South Carolina. So my wife was working at the time. He was a puppy. He was home alone. He was kind of tearing stuff up. The owner, Keith, was semi-retired and he had two dogs of his own. He had like this fenced-in area in the woods. He was out there every day with his dogs. So I said, Keith, what do you think about me bringing Blaze out to the job site and hanging out with us while we're framing your house and building your house? And he was a dog lover, so he's like, yeah, no, that's no problem. We'd love to have Blaze. So I start bringing Blaze to the job every day. And for a couple of weeks, everything is fine. Blaze is living the country life. He's chasing around the other dogs. You know, they're playing in the woods, playing in the penned-in area, having a great time, until one day, the worst thing imaginable happened. So the owner, Keith, comes running up to the house, and I'm up on the roof, I'm framing the house, and he's like, Jennings, Blaze has gotten out of the pen, and he's gone down, he's chasing some ducks, and he's gotten into the pond. So if you're listening to this, you may think, well, what's the big deal? The dog got into the pond, who cares? But if you know Moncks Corner, South Carolina, this is a gator-infested place, and every body of water in Moncks Corner that I know of has American alligators in it. And this pond was no exception. We had seen gators in the pond. That was definitely not a safe place for Blaze. He's probably only 25 pounds at the time, a nice little snack. So I, get off the house, run down to the edge of the pond, and Keith says, look, I've got a canoe. I'm going to go grab my paddle from, the work shed. I'll meet you down there. I run down there, and as I get through the woods and I come into the clearing and I see the pond, my worst fears are confirmed. Blaze, blissfully unaware, is paddling around, chasing after these ducks who are really in no danger of getting caught by him because they're in the water. But on the other side of the pond, there are two 6-7 foot gators who have surfaced, and they're swimming towards him. They're already seen him, they're looking at him, they're swimming directly towards him, and I'm standing there on the bank, helpless. And at that moment, I'm thinking what is about to happen. I can see it in my mind. I'm standing there, I'm calling to Blaze, pleading with him, get out of the water, get out of the water. But of course, Blaze is a hunting dog. He's born and bred to chase animals, and he's on the hunt. Plus, he's only 6 months old. He didn't have any training or know any better at that point. And so I can just see these gators come up, pull him under, roll him, pull him to the bottom, drown him, pin him underneath a submerged log, wait a few days for him to soften up, and they've got a great meal while I'm sitting there crying in distress on the side of the pond. So in that moment, I'm like, man, I just need more time, because Keith is not there, right? He had to run all the way across the field to his shed to grab the paddle so that he could paddle the canoe out. By the time he gets back to the pond, my dog is going to be no more. So in that moment, I thought, you know what? If I can just get between the gators and my dog Blaze, maybe that I'll scare them off. Maybe they'll be like, whoa, this guy is big. What's the deal here? I'm not gonna, I don't know what's going on. And I can give Keith time to get to Blaze in the canoe. So I kick off my boots, I drop my tool belt, I dive headfirst in the water because I just lost my dog prior getting hit by a car, and I am not gonna lose Blaze, who I've had for 6 months, and I already dearly love him. And caveat, this was very stupid. If you're listening to this and you're a kid or a young adult, I definitely don't advise doing this, but this is how it happened, this is what happened, and this is what I did. So I kick off my boots, I drop the tool belt, dive head first, and I start to freestyle crawl out to the middle of the pond, and these gators are still coming towards me. I'm like, okay, what's gonna happen here? And so I get between Blaze and the gators, and I'm kind of like waving my arms and shouting, and they stop. And then the first one, who's in the front, he starts to turn. And then the second one starts to turn. And they slowly make their way back over to the corner where they had been hanging out, and they move away from Blaze. By this point, Keith's back to the pond, he's jumped into the canoe, he paddles out to Blaze. Blaze is still chasing the ducks like an idiot. He grabs Blaze by the scruff of the neck, pulls him up into the canoe. I see he's safe. I start swimming back to shore, and Keith meets me at the shoreline. And dude, I just, you want to talk about an adrenaline dump. I hugged my dog. I probably cussed him out because this happened quite a while ago. So November 21st, 2024, I put Blaze into the ground. He was 15 years old. So he lived a full, healthy, great life. He was a great pet, great hunting dog, quail hunting, dove hunting, take him out to the country, great family pet. And we just had a phenomenal time with this dog. But sometimes in life, when your back is up against the wall, that's when you do the great things. That's when you do the heroics. That's when you take the action that you need to take. Back in 2010, the recession had finally settled into my town. I'm a custom builder, and American Debt Collectors is calling my phone. They've been calling me every day because I hadn't paid my credit card bill. I owed them, I think, like $15,000, $20,000, but I wasn't too worried about them because I had gotten a notice in the mail a few days prior that a tax lien had been placed against my personal home, my residence, because I hadn't paid my property taxes. And my house was going to be sold at tax auction that November if I didn't settle these taxes. And it was only like $2,200, but I didn't have it. I didn't have a couple $100s a month to pay the Home Depot credit card. I definitely didn't have $2,300 to pay my property taxes, which now seems like a small amount, but at the time, this was a mountain. And my back was against the wall. I also owed the IRS another, I think, 15 grand. Because I had made money the prior year, I owed taxes, and then the economy kind of fell apart and I didn't have any money to pay them and I hadn't saved. Right? I mean, I'm not making excuses. This was just my own stupidity. And so at that moment, that ember lit something in me that started the journey to where I'm at today. Because I decided I'm never going to be in this situation again. Like, I'm never going to be owing credit card debt. I'm not going to be owing tax liens. I'm not going to be, beholden to the whims of the economy. Like, wow, building is great. I'm making all this money. Holy cow, building is crashing and nobody wants to hire me to do anything. Like, I've got to get another revenue stream. I've got to get more stability. And that's when I really decided I'm going to buy real estate. I'd seen my dad do it. He had rentals. It had worked for him. He was a real estate agent, so he was making his active income, but he was plowing his money into these rental properties, and it was working. And I'm like, I have to do that. I have to get some insulation because I never want to be here again. This is so painful. This is so stressful. I don't have freedom. Even though I have my own business, like, this isn't working for me. I've got to insulate myself. And that ember, I couldn't do much with it. Right? Because I had to act. At that point, I'm not trying to go chase a multifamily deal. I have to go make $100. That's when I started selling those peep sites door to door and window packages and roof packages and just trying to scrounge up deals and dig myself out of that hole. And I did. It took me about 18 months, but I paid off the IRS. I paid the tax lien. I settled with the credit card company. I paid them off and got back on my feet. And that ember kindled a little fire. And that fire was when I bought that first trailer, a double wide for $5,000. It was a piece of crap. I fixed it up for another $5,000. I sold it owner financed. I bought another trailer for $7,000. I rented it out for $600 or $700 a month. I bought another trailer, sold that owner financed, bought another trailer, bought a single family home, bought another single family home, bought a 12 unit, continued on that path to where I am now, buying over $60 million worth of real estate. But it started with my back being against the wall and when you have to act. So if your back is up against the wall, maybe you're facing something really, really hard right now. It doesn't have to be as dramatic as your dog about to get eaten by an alligator or you're about to get your house sold at tax auction. But it could be something as simple as, man, I really don't like my boss. I really don't like that he's making me come in on weekends. And the stuff I do at work, I just don't enjoy it anymore. This is not my purpose. This is not my passion. This is not what I'm meant to do. I'm watching my kids grow up and I hardly know them. I barely get to spend any time with them. I'm not able to be the father or the mother that I want to be. I'm not able to have autonomy and freedom over what I do, when I do it, because I'm enslaved by lack of resources. If you're in that position right now, I want you to use it. Use that pressure, use that darkness, and act. Take the appropriate actions and steps to say no more, right? This is happening to you for a reason, and it could be a catalyst to propel you into something truly great. You need to get that ember going. You need to blow on that ember. You need to get that spark to spark into a flame. You need to start getting momentum. You need to start getting around the right people, plugging into the right networks, connecting, pursuing opportunities. What is the next right step for me to do? I was talking to a guy just yesterday. He's in the deal room and he called me about a deal. It was a large deal, over 200 units and a price tag of $8 million. So pretty good price per door. And he was like, look, I don't know what to do. I don't know anybody in this market to partner with. I'm not even sure how to underwrite this deal. Like, where do I go? I said, well, what do you have? Well, the broker sent me all the information on it. I've got rent rolls, I've got expenses, I know the occupancy, I know the tax insurance. He knew some stuff about this. I said, all right, man, pull up our analyzer, right? Pull up our analyzer, our software that we use to underwrite deals. Anything that's in blue, you edit that blue text, right? And I want you to start doing the next thing that you know how to do. Right, so you know what the purchase price is. That's easy. All right, type it in there, $8 million. You know how many units there are. There's 200 and whatever units. All right, put that in. All right, how many of them are 1 bedrooms? How many are 2 bedrooms? How many are 3 bedrooms? Okay. Can you make a spreadsheet on Google Sheets or Excel? Yes, I can. Okay, plug in the rent rolls and figure out what's the average rents for the 1 bedrooms. What's the average rents for the 2s? What's the average rents for the 3s? Okay, now you've got that piece set. All right, can you go on apartments.com? Can you go on Rentometer? Can you call a few local property managers? Yes, I can. Okay, figure out what the rents could be for those markets. You've already got the expenses, start plugging those in, and just step by step, chew through this problem because this is just the next little step. I said, because here's why I'm telling you to do this. If you go to somebody that has a multifamily portfolio that's already closing deals in this market that you want to break into, and you just dump some Google Drive folder on him and say, look, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea about this deal. This guy sent this to me. Is it a good deal? One, you're asking him to do a bunch of work for you. And two, you're showing him no value. You're showing him, hey, I'm incompetent. I don't really know what I'm doing and I'm not really worried about working on the problem to make myself better. So what is that guy going to think of you? Is he going to want to partner with you? Is he going to want to sign on your loan? Is he going to want to raise capital for your deal? Probably not. So how can you provide value? If you go to this guy and say, look, I know I don't know everything. I've done the best I can do. I put all these rent rolls into these files. I've calculated the average market rents. I've called property managers. I've looked up this data on apartments.com and Rentometer. I've put in all the expenses. I've put in the cap rate that I think it is for the market. Like, I know some of this stuff isn't right. but would you be willing to go through this? Now you've got organized information in a format that he understands, and he's going to walk through that with you and point out where it could be better, where it could be adapted, where it could be shifted, just because you took a couple extra steps to get yourself in position to generate value for this guy, right? Because if you generate value for this guy, well, maybe you're a valuable teammate. Maybe he can help you and you can help him, and something can arise out of that. And so whatever stage you're at, I want you to think about, what is the next thing? What is the one thing that I can do today to move forward on this problem, to push against this problem, to figure something out, to make progress? We have a conference coming up in Charleston, March 6th, 7th, and 8th. Charleston, South Carolina, we've rented out a beautiful hotel conference space. Last year, I think we had 160 people there. And we've got world-class speakers, guys with thousands of units. We have a lady with a $96 million private money debt fund coming to talk about how she built that fund from scratch. We've got another guy talking about LIHTC and Section 8 and a new opportunity there. I'm going to be talking about doing hard money lending. I'm going to be talking about private money mortgages. We're going to be talking about value-add apartments. We're going to be talking about sourcing deals, deal flow, and structures that you maybe haven't thought of. If you want to be in the room, if you want to take a small step towards conquering a problem and getting out of the mess that you're in and getting on a trajectory that's going to take you where you want to go, I want you to be there. If you go to dealroomlive.com, that's the website for the conference. You can check out the tickets. You can get a VIP ticket. You can get a general admission ticket, and you can book your slot for this conference. But prices are going up every week. I'm incrementally increasing the price. So when you're listening to this, this is the best deal you're going to get. Go to dealroomlive.com, check out the details of the conference, and more importantly, think about, where do you want to be? Just imagine 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years down the road. You're at my conference. You're walking across the stage as a closer. You're getting your award. Rookie of the Year, the Unlock Your Life Award. You've built hundreds of units of portfolio. You've built 10, 15, 30, $50 million portfolio generating cash flow every month. You've changed the trajectory of your family. You've got a business that you can bring your kids in on. You've got an inheritance that you can leave to your kids and your grandkids. Everyone looks up to you as the guy that took the risk, did the work. When his back was against the wall, he made it happen, and he put it out there to change the future so that he didn't wake up and be 60, 70, 80 years old and look back with regret. Say, man, what if? What if I had done this when I had the time, when I had the energy? Every day, every month, every year that passes, that window closes. So if this is you, I want you to go to dealroomlive.com, grab your ticket, and I'll see you in Charleston, March 6th, 7th, and 8th to unlock your life. Peace.